It's week 23 now since losing my brother Mike. And this is another video diary type thing that I've decided to start putting public. I do video diaries every day in terms of how I'm doing, tracking my day-to-day feelings, I suppose, and progress, if you want to call it that. And I decided to start doing this via YouTube as well. The reason being, as I've mentioned before, is my brother would actively speak out on YouTube trying to help others with his struggles, try and make people feel that they're not feeling alone. And this is why I've started doing this. It's not something I ever planned on doing or had any motivation to do. It's purely because of him. I'd started a podcast with his best mate, which we spoke every week on. And this is something that I initially started doing about a month after initially losing Mike, unfortunately, to suicide. Now, these videos, of course, are super raw. It's a very raw subject, of course. I understand it might be particularly triggering for people, and I don't want it to be, but I get the nature of the subject is a sensitive one. And I'm going to try my best to deal with it as sensibly and as sensitively as I possibly can. Inevitably, I'll slip up and may say the wrong thing by accident, or get my words mixed up a little bit as I'm trying to find ways to communicate better. But the intention is pure and nothing other than trying to help people feel less alone in their day-to-day, if they're struggling, or maybe even if that there's something that they can relate to in terms of the things that I say. I'm not looking for like attention. It's nothing ego related. This is purely my brother did it, and it's my way of honoring him and continuing what he did. And it's a calling that I have now, that I never had before. I never planned on being like a YouTuber or anything like this, but this is what I'm doing and how I'm handling the grief. I'm putting it into something that's meaningful, purposeful, gives me something to focus on. And it means that I'm hopefully, a byproduct of that is you get to, some people might get help from it as well. So that's the reason for it. What I'm doing, or my plan is to do with this, is check in every week. Checking in the sense of how I'm doing. Has it been a good week? Has it been a bad week? Has it been a good day, bad day? With the podcast, that's what we were doing every single week, checking in. And I noticed a pattern with the podcast of checking in each week. It was a specific time and moment in the week to reflect on how I'm feeling and how it's gone. Now, I think that's really, really critical and a really positive thing to do on a weekly basis, is to check in. Like, how often do you do that? I'd say probably not a lot. I wasn't doing it a lot before that. And I think doing this now forces me to check in each week. And I think by doing that, you're bringing what's potentially in your subconscious that you're not aware of forward into your consciousness. That means that you can then deal with things rather than not sure what's going on, as much as possible anyway. I'm by no means an expert or a psychologist or anything like that. I'm a guy who lost his brother to suicide and is trying his best to deal with it as best as I can. I just realised I spoke about myself in third person, and I don't like that. I'm just trying to do the best I can with the scenario that I'm in. And that's it. So what I found that works, or is working for me, because it's 5 months on now. I've gone quite extreme, potentially, you could say, on trying to systemize grief, maybe. That could be a way of putting it. I don't know, that's looking at, might have to be better. I've been doing as much as I can to try and stack the deck in my favor as much as I can. So what I've been doing is analyzing every single week, what are my behaviors, what are my habits, and what can I do to basically just give myself that extra bit of chance of being as good as I can. The early stages were specifically hard in terms of the shock, the adrenaline, the Christmas period, the first Christmas, the January period, which in the UK is, you know, dark nights, dark early nights, bad weather, freezing cold, that type of thing. You've finished Christmas and you got out of the new year. Whereas this year, of course, we had the first Christmas. It was my birthday in January, so the first birthday. There's his birthday coming up next week as well. So there's been a period where now it's 5 months on and it's like, okay, the shock is gone and the reality is here, the new normal, as it were. And in all honesty, I'm doing as best as I possibly can, I think. I don't think I could be doing better, which could be seen as maybe a bit taboo to say. Maybe some people, it comes across as like, oh, you shouldn't be feeling like that this early, maybe. But it's just how I'm feeling. I'm feeling pretty good. And there's a reason being is I've put a lot of effort and conscious effort into instilling daily habits that serve me and getting rid of daily habits that don't. Now, I didn't notice a difference from one day to the next, but I certainly have 6 weeks on-ish since installing those. In January, I had a slump. I was basically super low energy. Didn't leave the house for a week. Didn't leave my flat for a week, which is, you know, I'm leaving the house multiple times in the morning right now. And I put it down to a couple of things, or at least one of the things I put it down to is my habits, my healthy, good habits had slowly started creeping out. And it was not something I noticed or like was conscious of. I just noticed that it was subconsciously stopping them. And it was like, oh shit, look back. I'm like, I'm not doing those things anymore. I wasn't going for a walk. I'd stopped doing green juices, for example. Just sleeping in later than I should. Even though, to be honest, I was knackered and feeling that I needed another 12 hours after having like 8, 9. But I sort of realized quite quickly that like, well, these habits that I'm doing or not doing are resulting in me feeling tired, lethargic. Now that tiredness and lethargic feeling could be just from the grief as well. I don't know that. But what I wanted to do was eliminate any possibility that it's the habits. So when I know that I'm as healthy and as good as I can be by implementing these things, anything else that I know that hits me, I know is the grief. I know it is, rather than it's, oh, you've been eating really badly, so that's why you're tired. I didn't want to leave anything to chance. So I started doing that. And then if I look back, you don't notice these changes on a day-to-day basis. You notice them over long periods of time. So if I look back at the beginning, like middle of January to now, which is now mid-March, so what, January, February, March, 2 months, the difference is night and day, like night and day. I've got more energy than I've probably ever had in my life. I have a feeling of purpose and meaning for doing things like this. Like it's a Sunday today. And instead of just like lazing around on the couch, come down here, like set up a system, a bit of a mini studio. I've got some like lights there, got a secondary camera there. And I'm spending the morning just doing some productive stuff because it gives me meaning and purpose. And yeah, that's sort of where I'm at. Whereas in January time, I was ordering McDonald's right now, lying on the couch and not doing anything. And I'm like, okay, fine, that's all good. Actually, you shouldn't feel guilty for doing that. But it's what works for me, and I feel better for doing this. what I've done on the back of that also in Jan was completely quit drinking as well. I found that drinking was not something that I did like every week or every day or anything. It was probably maybe once a week, every 2 weeks. I'd usually try and give myself a weekend off. That's what I'd try and do. But it turned into every week, and I was hungover. And then even though I was, only having some beers or whatever, it was sort of my mood and my levels of sort of ease were not the same for a couple of days after. And then I'd recover, feel back to a level, and then repeat. And I was like, this is not serving me well here. Like, I was doing maybe, let's say, go out for beers for 3 hours, but then paying for it for 48. I'm like, what? Why would I do that? It doesn't make any sense. So I started just going, right, I'm just going to have 0% beers. And fortunately for me, I really like 0% beers, so I don't feel like I'm losing out. I'm still doing the social occasions. I'm not missing out on that, but I'm actually finishing when I want to finish, going to bed when I want to go to bed, and then feeling great the next day. And I've had the socials, I've had the beers. I'm missing out on a couple of things. Like I love there's a place by me which has got like a frozen margarita, which I love. So missing out on that is one thing, but it's a decent enough exchange. So I fully quit. And the thing is for me with quitting is it's the longest period I think I've gone in a long time with no drinking. So this is 7 weeks. It is now 7. Yeah. During COVID, I think I went 3 months. But my plan now, so I'm putting this out there publicly, my plan is to do at least a year. So middle of Jan, 24th of Jan will be the year. So I really believe if you put it out there, it makes you accountable. So this is partly why I'm doing this. I'm not going to drink alcohol until, for at least a year. And then from there, we'll see how we go. But that's my goal. And not because I had a problem. Well, that's the thing. Maybe there was a problem because problems are different, aren't they, in terms of levels and who the problem, what type of problem it is. Mine was, it was affecting my mood and how I'm handling the loss of my brother. So I was like, get rid of that. And let's replace it with like a green juice every day, let's say. Now, those two things, I'm like, immediately, logically, you'd go, well, you'd feel better for that, wouldn't you? And I do. So, I'm going to do a year. But the other thing I've learned with the no alcohol thing, which has surprised me the most, is my initial thought about no alcohol would be, you don't feel better. You just have days where you just don't have the days where you feel bad. So it's not like, I didn't think you'd feel better day to day. I just thought that you would have days where you don't feel bad, and that's it. You're just getting rid of the days that you don't feel bad. Now, the lesson for me that I've learned, and I'm only, 7 weeks in, is the energy levels are unbelievable. I've just got a constant feeling of high energy, high purpose, high drive, enthusiasm, peace of mind, clarity, complete and utter clarity. I know that sounds probably quite a subjective word maybe, and quite hard to really determine what that means, but I just feel at ease, and that's the best I think I can get from it. So just realized that camera's gone off, so I'll just have to stick to this one for now. But I don't know how long this video's been. 15 minutes. I think 15 minutes should be about right, I reckon. Is there any other lessons that I've learned? So this week has been a good one. This weekend has been a good one. I've woke up each day feeling good. I've been waking up each day actually 4, 5 a.m. and getting up. That's another big thing as well. Getting up when it's dark. Yesterday was Saturday. I'm recording this on Sunday the 15th. So yesterday morning I woke up about 4:30 in the morning and got up. And that's ridiculous, that 4:30. But I was just pumped and ready to go. So got up, was was in the gym by 7:30. Went and got a coffee, started doing some more recording, and that was all by like 9 a.m. So I just feel great, and I don't feel guilty for feeling great as well, because I know my brother Mike he'd want that. Like he wouldn't want me to feel down. Maybe because he's a bit of a joker, so maybe he would jokingly say that. I'm pretty sure he would. He'd be like, "Why aren't you so miserable?" But he'd want me to feel good. And you know what? 5 months on, it's still incredibly early in this whole path, this new life. So I feel quite fortunate, to be honest, to be feeling like this, because there was a part of me that was like, do I even tell people this is how I feel? Because I don't want anyone out there, or if you're watching and you're someone who's like struggling 5 months on, I don't want that to be something that makes someone feel bad or makes you feel bad. Because everyone's like journey and the way that things happen or deal with it or whatever is different. So yeah, I'm not here just sort of saying I feel great and this is, look how good that is. This is a moment in time where I'm feeling pretty good. And I do know, of course, like there's up and down days, like there's the waves analogy, of course, where you have up days, down days. So this is why I'm expressing it, is because this is the truth of what I feel like. And I do know inevitably there'll be a down period. There might be a down period for a month potentially, or a week, or whatever it is. But if I'm consistently doing those daily habits of, you know, the healthy side of things, then I'm at least stacking the deck in my favor as much as I possibly can for when those things happen. And maybe if you're watching and you are struggling 5 months in or whatever it is, or longer, that's fine and that's normal. And well, yeah, that's just how it is for you in this moment in time. But I think if I didn't express how I'm feeling, honestly, it'd be fake, wouldn't it? I'd be playing to an audience potentially and trying to second guess an audience of being like, well, what do they think I should be feeling like? And therefore I'll express that. And I just think that's wrong. I could be on one of these in a couple of months and be saying I feel like absolute shit. And therefore I need to be authentic. And this is, yeah, just sort of where I'm at. So yeah, that's it really. Just sort of jump on quickly, nothing crazy. That camera went off, so I'm trying to do it where it looks a bit more interesting, but you've got like 2 different angles. So I'll make sure I'm a bit more professional next time and make sure that camera's charged fully. But yeah, thanks for watching and I'll see you on the next one. Take care.